It's the final road course of the NASCAR season. That's right, it's the Charlotte ROVAL, and we get you set for the occasion with our best bets for the Cup, Xfinity, and Truck Series. All this and more, it's the Backroad coming right at you.
It's a non-points race, but it is a short race. Checker flag. That's all this race is.
What's going on, everybody? This is the Backroad. It's In Between Media's NASCAR betting show. My name's Elliot Hicks. With me is Seth Woolcock as NASCAR heads back to the Charlotte ROVAL this weekend. Round of 12 is just about ending. The days are getting shorter. The weather's getting a little chillier, and we are getting to crunch time in the NASCAR playoffs, Seth.
Elliot, great to be back with you on the program. It's been a busy couple of weeks over in the football streets. You and Rod have graciously held the program down for me, and let's just say the football bets haven't been falling. So excited to get back here in the NASCAR streets with you guys and, send some absolute gainers here because it's the last road course of the season. Traditionally, one of the more handicappable ones as well. So excited to be here with you and rocking and rolling with the IBT family as well.
Yeah, we know on the road courses this year, there's been one direction to go, but a few other directions to potentially make money this week. And shout out to Rod as well, not just for the good work over the last couple of weeks, but also for helping us win some coin last week with a great week on the betting card that we'll talk about shortly. We will look back in the rear view at Kansas, give you our reaction, as well as news and the standings updates in the Cup and Xfinity series. In our Horizon forecast, we will break down everything you need to know about the Charlotte ROVAL, the trends, the track facts, your Asterisk mark driver of the race, shout out to iFantasy Race and all that. Before we get to the props, in the parking garage props where the Cup, Xfinity, and Truck Series are all in action. We'll break down the weekend schedule for you as well. Shout out to everyone who's joined us live. Special shout out to everyone rocking and rolling in the IBT Racing family. It's been a super fun year in there. Of course, that gives you access to our full weekly NASCAR betting cards. Lord knows I have a bunch more stuff that we can always get to in here. Volume betting, fun little strategy. We also give you entry into our memorabilia giveaways, which we're a little overdue for one of those. We got to catch.
I think we're about to rip them all out here at the end because I have been slacking. The move in the middle of summer did not do us well for either one of you and I, Elliot.
Yeah, but we got the stuff located, hopefully, and we'll work a couple out here. Got a championship one that maybe I'll even convince you to make a general giveaway set for those who aren't in the family.
Yeah.
If you're in the family, you should be, because it also gives you access to the exclusive weekly betting model that has really helped us a lot this season. You get to join the conversation with with all of us, myself, yourself, Rod, Ryan from iFantasy Race, and a couple of our, all of our special people that we got.
Absolute degens is what they are, Elliot.
There we go. That's a good word to describe them. It's not just the racing family that you get, but also the IBT football family as well. That looks like that's been going pretty well so far, Seth, as the football seasons are now in full gear.
Dude, it's been fun. We got the touchdown contest brewing right now. The kid came back 3. Ashton Genty got us in the end zone. We hit pay dirt 3 times last week. So it's been an absolute blast. And, just shooting the breeze with everyone, answering questions, however we can help people has been really, really great time. So excited for it all to kind of come together here. Football will pick up in the next couple of weeks and NASCAR will really reach its pinnacle here at the championship.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's going to be a fun end of the season here. Shout out as well to everyone streaming on the audio edition on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
As well as at Talkin' West Tennessee, 101.5 FM, 8 o'clock on Saturday nights. And as you're bringing up here, we got folks in the comments too. Marcus also reminding everyone, throw your picks to win. Throw your best bets. Throw your fun bet stories like Stan a couple of weeks ago. Support us, comment, like, subscribe. And the links to everything, of course, like, subscribe, comment are all in YouTube here if you're watching on YouTube. But the episode description on YouTube is where you can find everything else. We got Marcus, of course, going with C. Bell and Blaze Wolf saying if there's a little whatery, maybe some Bubba Wallace action.
Dude, Blaze has been on it. I think he just came off one of his best weeks of the season. And so I know everyone's kind of on the high vibes right now. So shout out Blaze, shout out Marcus. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks for rolling in, and thanks to everyone rolling in as the show goes on. Let's go ahead and get things started, taking a look back in the rear view.
In the rear view. Let's do it.
We had the Cup and Xfinity Series rocking and rolling from America's heartland in Kansas last weekend. In the Xfinity Series, the last bet of the night here last week was Rod going with the Brandon Jones, not just an outright, not just the placement prop. He went with the full car lift, and he absolutely nailed it. Brandon Jones dominates that race, earns his third Kansas victory, and wins his way into the round of 8. Unbelievable pull from Rod there. I hopped in on the top 10, but he had the full car lift, and that was maybe one of the best calls of the entire season.
I mean, wow. I was just absolutely – first, I was stunned by the play, right? Like,
Yeah.
Brandon Jones' car lift kind of came out of nowhere. First of all, we haven't done a car lift all season. And then he just absolutely brings it out, top 10, top 5. I think there was a top 3 in there, and then to the outright. So great job there. And not only did he win that race, Elliott, the dude, as you said, dominated the race. I mean, Connor Zilisch was looking feisty at one point. Allgaier was out in front for 80-ish or so laps. But Brandon Jones started on the pole, had the best car, and he executed. And I don't know, man, like Joe Gibbs Racing kind of suits this guy for whatever reason a lot better than it did over with Junior and the boys.
Yeah, Gibbs suits him, and Kansas sure suits him. One of those, the drivers have their tracks. Brandon Jones in Kansas, an absolute match made in heaven there. And yeah, Rod went with the car lift, the outright top 3, top 5. I didn't fully trust it, so I went with the top 10 at a good old juicy minus 250. But at least it hit, as did Rod's other bets as we move on to the Cup Series. Absolutely wild last lap finish there. It was a pretty good race all around. Denny Hamlin pretty dominant. Had the power steering issues he was fighting through.
Yeah.
Then some late cautions mixing things up. Hamlin going for it when Bubba Wallace gets out front. A team owner and team driver make contact. 23 goes into the wall. Chase Elliott in the 9 car sneaks through, takes the victory. Denny Hamlin in the news once again, creating more chaos for himself in that 11 team.
Yeah, I mean, that's so tough for him, man. Like, right? Like he's got to be the driver and not the owner in that moment. He's also fighting a power steering issue that seemed like he was almost talking about, like, would kind of like lock on him. Never knows, what you're going to get into with that too. So I think he's in a tough spot. Like, I don't fault the guy. And I just feel bad, honestly, for both him and Bubba Wallace. Like, what a win that would be for Bubba Wallace, the same place he's won before, lock him into the next round too. So I just feel bad for them. And like, I don't want to like start controversy or anything out here, because like I know like Chase Elliott had a great run too. He was up front pretty much all day long. Like, aside from Bubba, aside from Denny, he looked like the car to beat there towards the end of that race. But that was kind of a hacky win.
All right, I'm not sure if we lost Seth on my end for a little bit or if it's my problem. Either way, I kind of agree with you there, Seth, on what's going on with Denny Hamlin there. It's easy for us to look at from a full 360-degree view, right? We're there watching the race. We're outside of the 360 view there. We're watching it on TV. The broadcast is going through each and every option that we've got there. So we can see everything that's going on. And Denny Hamlin, he's got a number of roles. He's got, he's the driver of the JGR number 11 car. He's the team owner at 2311. But in that moment, the only role that he's focused on is pulling off win number 60 and getting that huge milestone that he wants to hit. And in that moment, he took that over any of his other roles there. Looking at it from the full view that we have the full leaderboard on this side. We know he's got his issues. We know guys like Chase Elliott have fresher tires and are coming. But right there, Denny Hamlin is just saying, I want to go win this race that I dominated. Not, hey, we're pretty good on points, and the 23 probably needs this win, so driver and owner probably would be good. It was Denny doing the best he could to pull off a race-winning move. It just didn't work out. I liked Bubba's response to it, where I think his truest feelings come out on the last lap if you saw what he said and what he did. But then you look at it from a full 360 view. You realize Denny Hamlin wants to go out and get that 60th win. Every driver is probably going to pull that move, whether it's owner driver, whether it's teammates, whether it's, Ford versus Chevrolet, anyone's probably going to try and pull that same thing. We saw it in 2008. Carl Edwards tries the video game move before it was the video game move, smacks the wall at Kansas. Jimmy Johnson coasts on to the win. But in any case there, it didn't work out for the Toyotas, worked out beautifully for the Chevrolets, and worked out beautifully on my card too. Like I said, I added 3 of Rod's bets to my card. We already shared the Blaney outright, which unfortunately didn't work. But the Bubba Wallace top 5 plus 450, nailed it. Like I said, that Brandon Jones top 10 from Rod, nailed it. And I believe the other one was Chase Elliott over Tyler Reddick at -110 that he gave me. And of course that hit because the 9 car wins the race. On my own card, Briscoe's top 5 at +220 hit. Brad Keselowski, I mentioned, X out of Y ovals, 8 out of 12 or something like that. He's been in that top 10, hits again at +150 for me. I had the 43 over the 16 on kind of a DGen little matchup there at even money. That hits when Allmendinger runs into issues. I had the 11 over the 5 at +106, fading Larson, and it kind of worked again. It wasn't necessarily the best day for Kyle Larson and HMS there. Okay, it appears that we've lost Seth again for the moment. Again, I think the issues are probably on his side now. As we continue to review Kansas here. Yeah, I also had the Carson Kvapil over Raja Caruth bet in the Xfinity side, -115. And it kind of worked as I predicted. I think I gave them a little more credit than they needed to where it was going to be a battle for, I was giving them credit for like an 8th to a 15th. That's usually my default position there, is somewhere in that field. But they're running a little further back than that. And for a lot of the day, it was the 17 of Caruth in that HMS car running just in front of that one there. But it was Kvapil at the end of the day that's able to come out ahead of Caruth there in that Xfinity race. And a pretty good week for bets for sure, as we talked about it. And like I said, shout out to Rod. All 3 of his bets hit. Excuse me. All right, so we're still waiting on Seth to come back in here is my assumption. Let's take a look at some comments here. We've got TK jumping in. Nice to see SVG randomly have his best oval performance with the top 10 despite the penalty and being a lap down until an early stage 2 yellow. Yeah, SVG and somebody else. I can't remember off the top of my mind. 2 drivers. It was McDowell, the 71, who also had some speed in qualifying. They both ended up getting penalties between practice and qualifying, where it was adjustments after inspection, I believe it was. Your crew chief gets thrown out, you lose pit stall selection, you got to start at the back of the field, and you have to do a pass-through penalty is what you have to do in that situation. It knocked both of them down, and SVG comes back, ends up with his first oval top 10, as you mentioned, TK. An impressive performance there from SVG. TK mentioned they got to him. Elliott 8, and he's gone. Yeah, man, I don't know. It's Seth was mentioning about having to do an internet reset here. The technical difficulties that you have when you're not on. Seth is working on the internet issues right now. Apologies for the technical difficulties. He'll be back in as soon as possible. He'll give you his winning bets. I'll start to break down the news of the week and the playoff standings as he comes back in. The Fast Lap news of the week. Pretty slow news week in NASCAR. The big thing, though, Kyle Busch fans, you already knew you were going to get your new crew chief when Randall Burdett announced that he was going to move on from RCR and go to Trackhouse with Connor Zilisch in the number 99 next year. Initially, it was said that Burnett would Burnett, excuse me. I always get Randall Burnett and Jason Burdett, the old crew chief for Justin Allgaier, confused. But it is Randall Burnett, the crew chief for Kyle Busch, as hopefully we have Seth here to stay now. Burnett is not going to actively crew chief the number 8 the rest of the year. It's Andy Street will be the crew chief on the number 8 car the rest of the way. Former Austin Hill Xfinity crew chief until this year, and he crew chiefs the 33 whenever Hill or Jesse Love or whoever has run that car this year. Seth, feel free to throw in some other winning bets that you had from Kansas as we finish the race recap there. Yeah, you may not have had it. We'll skip that.
Well, I was about to say that it was a light weekend for me. Only 4 bets, none of them hit. So it was a good time for me to exit there. And also, the man was NASCAR trying to pull the plug on us right now. I was trying to defend Denny Hamlin in that rant there, and they just said nothing. Can't have it right now. Public enemy number 1.
Yeah, apparently. Feel free to finish any Kansas thoughts you had, and also your thoughts on Andy Street crew chief in the 8 the rest of the year, and if he's a viable candidate to stay there, or what direction they might turn in for the 8 car in 2026.
This entire 8 program honestly scares me a little bit. Like, it feels like they had some speed earlier in the year, and then they just completely lost it. And at times when we thought Kyle Busch would be good at a track, or at least I have, it feels like Austin Dillon's better at the track. So I don't really know what's going on there. Maybe it's still like part of that adjustment going from a Joe Gibbs racing car down to an RCR car. Like, we've seen Chase Briscoe kind of struggle with that as well, in the opposite way of going from, a mid-tier car to a really good one. So I don't know, but I feel like overall it can't hurt, right?
Yeah, I feel like any sort of change needs to be made there, because it has not been it's been such a hard fall for Kyle Busch. Was able to get 3 wins in that first year in 2023, and then it has been 2 just absolutely abysmal seasons whether you say Kyle Busch is out of his prime, RCR pretty clearly out of their prime for quite some time now. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that car, not only next year, but in the future too. Does Kyle Busch end up ending his career at RCR, or is there another step to KFB's career? Who knows?
It'll be tough to tell for sure, but I am definitely, telling you one thing. I'm betting on KFB to rally back at some point, whether that's in the Cup Series, I don't know, or whether he goes to trucks and we bet him every single week. That's okay too.
Yeah, still got a couple more years till he can run full-time with Brexton, but we'll have to see. What's a little more clear is what's happening in the playoff standings, as both the Cup and Xfinity Series have just one race left in the round of 12. They're parallel the rest of the way. The trucks have one more off weekend, but the Cup and Xfinity Series, one race left in the round of 12, and then you get into the round of 8, and then your championship 4 at Phoenix. In the Cup Series, the 9 and the 12, of course, have both advanced based on their wins in the round of 12 that we've had, of course, the 9 at Kansas and the 12 back at New Hampshire, that dominating performance. Penske, they weren't necessarily on it. The points look pretty good for both Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin. Larson is plus 54. Hamlin is plus 48, and he would have been pretty solid in points, like I said, even without having to do what he did to the 23. If he runs second in that race, he's in a good spot on points, and the 23's in. NASCAR even posted, here's what the points looked like with 1 lap to go at Kansas, and here's how much it changed. But it locks in the 9 and the 12. The 5 and the 11, both in good spots. I almost said the 48. He's plus 48. Too used to talking about Alex Bowman. Christopher Bell, William Byron, both in really good spots as well. Bell plus 44 and Byron plus 40. Then you start to get down to the nitty-gritty a little bit. Chase Briscoe looks pretty good at plus 21, but you never know. The Roval can be quite the treacherous place. Joey Logano is at plus 13. He's at the cut line right now, is the number 22. He was below the cut line heading into this race last year and initially had missed the cut at the Roval before Alex Bowman fails inspection. Joey Logano gets a new life, goes out there, wins the championship. At least this year, he is starting above the cut line as we've lost Seth again. I feel like I don't want to mess up our whole graphics thing here, so I'll leave myself in the half frame, keep rolling with our graphics, give Seth the ability to pop back in once he's able to figure out his issues there, maybe go from the phone or something, not sure how the service is at his new place. In any case, Logano is the last driver above the cut line in the 22. Below the cut line, it's going to be tough for all these guys, even though Ross Chastain at minus 13, that doesn't seem like that much, but at a place where he's not all that great, we'll talk more about that when we get into the bets, a place where he's not that great, it's going to be a tough road for the number 1 Trackhouse team, and it's an even tougher road for both 2311 cars. Bubba Wallace, even with that P5, minus 26 below the cut line. Tyler Reddick, minus 29. Reddick had an okay-ish car, but it didn't really look – there were times when he was running up front, I guess at the end. He ended up with a better finish than he was running a lot of the day, but a really tough road for 2311 to come back. And Austin Cindric, he used to be a guy, 21 and 22. I feel like this is when Penske's road course program was better. Cindric, he's minus 48 on the cut line before I skip over that. Cindric was the kind of guy that a must-win at a road course, you would feel pretty good about the number 2 car, but the road course program hasn't been there. The road course prowess for Cindric has not been there in a few years. At minus 48 needing a must-win, I don't have any level of confidence really in Cindric. I feel like he is done, but making it to the round of 12, still pretty good for Austin Cindric and how he's run the last couple of years. He's been a little underrated, and he's that kind of guy that I don't feel bad about him dropping out in the round of 12. That's just kind of where he's at. All right, Seth, so we've been through the full Cup Series playoff standings. Any particular thoughts that you have on any of these dozen guys? I'll give you the floor.
No, I mean, I think it's pretty straightforward. Briscoe's back a little bit further than I would have hoped. Like plus 21's fine, but if something bad goes wrong like it did last year at the Roval Forum, he might be in a pickle, and he's been one of the most consistent drivers in the second half stretch here. But for the rest of it, like Bubba Wallace, I think I'm a little disappointed where he's at right now too, just considering the run he's coming off of. And I think he's someone I'm looking for this weekend and maybe put himself back in that discussion. I think Joey Logano, once again, sitting there right around the cut line, makes quite a bit of sense, especially, you know better than anyone last year, Elliott, with the phone call he got afterwards.
Yeah, and I talked about that a little bit too. Logano coming back from under the cut line last year, that at least is in a better spot now. I believe now the NASCAR Twitter posted a graphic that there's been at least one driver to come from below the cut line in each of the last 3 years, and definitely multiple times at the Roval, which formerly served as the round of 16 elimination race. Now is the round of 12 elimination race. Again, last year, we'll call it technical difficulties that allowed Logano to jump in. But this is a place where, I was talking about how I don't necessarily have a lot of faith in Chastain at the Roval, but 13 points down and Briscoe and Logano not necessarily being the greatest on road courses, it could help the number one car if they're able to go out and have a good day.
Briscoe's a lot better recently on road courses than anyone's given him credit for. We'll talk about that a little bit later. I mean, maybe it's just the bitter better in me because I backed Chastain again heavily last week. He runs top 10 all day and then falls out of the top 10. Maybe that's what's coming here. I think Chastain's toast, to be honest with you. I think something would have to happen pretty bad to Logano or Briscoe for him to make it in here. But Elliot, isn't it funny too, though? Like when it's all said and done, like most likely we're once again looking at a round of 8 that includes all Hendrick cars, all Joe Gibbs Racing cars, and all Penske cars as well.
Yeah, and that's basically exactly how it was last year too. Your championship favorites are still generally your championship favorites. The winning in will help guys get in. Road courses will help an SVG get in. Your occasional surprise winners will get maybe your Cindric's in if you count him as a surprise winner. They'll get your Austin Dillons in. They'll get your Josh Berry's in. But when it comes down, the cream of the crop rises to the top, and we see that generally every year when we get down to the round of 8. You're almost never getting real surprise drivers in there.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what happens. Like occasionally we saw Briscoe a few years ago in there. We've seen Cindric in the round of 8 as well. Those are usually the guys who can kind of sneak in there. I mean, Reddick made it all the way last year, which I think was a great feat for 23XI, but I don't know. They've kind of taken a little bit of a step back this season, but it really is those big dogs that I feel like eat for the most part. So you're right. It probably shouldn't be super surprising, but I think maybe it's the gamblers in us, but we're always kind of rooting for these underdog teams, the SVGs of the world. I mean, I thought maybe Chris Buescher had a run at something this year too. I was 40-1 on his championship outright. So just kind of disappointing though when it all comes back to it. It is these great drivers in there and great equipment as well.
Yeah, we'll talk about it more in the offseason, but Chris Buescher, a guy you've had to feel bad for the last 2 years. They need to get back to victory lane.
Mm-hmm.
Something fierce. Anyway, the Xfinity standings, again, also one left in the round of 12. Brandon Jones clinched via his win at Kansas. Both Connor Zilisch and Justin Allgaier have acquired enough points to clinch their spots as well. So 3 out of the 8 spots already taken in the Xfinity Series heading into the Roval. Sam Mayer also feeling pretty good at plus 43. But after that, it starts to get a little worrisome. Taylor Gray is at plus 16. Sheldon Creed plus 12. Carson Kvapil at plus 9. Jesse Love sits on the cut line at plus 5. Definitely a little worried if you're in the 2 camp. Nick Sanchez just below at minus 5. Austin Hill minus 7. Harrison Burton is at minus 8, coming back to earth a little bit there. Sammy Smith unable to fully recover from a bad first race. Still at minus 14 and bringing up the rear in the round of 12 here. In terms of the guys below the cut line, let's start there. Sanchez, Hill, Harrison Burton, Sammy Smith. Any of them you see as a potential favorite to move forward at the Roval?
I actually think they're all kind of in contention. I think this is going to be a great battle. I cannot wait for this one, Elliot, because you have Sanchez, who's looked great on road courses the last few times we've been out on road courses, a few top 5 finishes in that stretch. You got Austin Hill, who's been honestly like low-key a road course ringer this year. Like he has been top 10 in almost every road course, and sometimes it's him taking out half the field to get there, right? But he's been sensational. He's good here at the Roval as well. Harrison Burton has had a couple top 10 sneaky runs as well. And Sammy Smith, he's always good for one as well. So I think this is very live. I am very nervous for a few things. One, my Harrison Burton championship outright. I was hoping maybe if he could get to at least one more round, I could get a cash out offer. I also have that Jesse Love ticket I'm sitting on at 11-1, Elliot, that starting to sweat that out a little bit here as he's right near the cut line.
Yeah, I'm on that Love ticket as well at a 7-1 there. With Harrison Burton, I feel like he's definitely got the lowest shot, though. Sanchez, pretty good at road courses. Again, Austin Hill will surprise you at times, too. Sammy Smith, 14 points is a lot. But those guys above the cut line, I'm definitely really worried for Jesse Love. I have the 7-1. You have the 11-1, Seth. Hopefully you're still there. Kvapil had that good run at COTA, but a couple of rough runs recently at the road courses. Plus 9, I'm definitely worried about that. And even Sheldon Creed, too. Maybe he's just one of those guys that has the good runs at road courses, and it just disappears from my mind. but even created a plus 12 with some of the potential road course prowess beneath the cut line there. I'm a little worried for that 00 as well.
100%. You got me still?
I do have you for the moment. Pictures
Perfect.
maybe not the best, but I can hear you.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Apologies about the connection, guys. I don't know what's going on here, but every couple of months we get throttled at least one time. But yeah, I'm going to be excited to see. And I think at the end of the day, like, this is a couple drivers to win, right? And I think we know who they are for the most part. And do you think that, like, I don't know, there might be some value out there, honestly, in the Xfinity Championship market, because Zilisch is minus 110, and anything can happen that last race, I think, Elliott.
Yeah, especially if this is the last year that we do have that one race final setup there at Phoenix. Zilisch is a clear favorite, just like Heim's a clear favorite in the Truck Series. But you have a rough day at Phoenix, and all those championship tickets, you can throw them right in the trash there. So whoever does make that Final Four, there definitely some value there. Jones, I don't think really has a shot. Allgaier maybe, but I feel like his odds are probably going to be in the 3-1 range. And then past there, it's just who's going to be good at Phoenix, and it's tough to see. We didn't have Xfinity race at Loudon. If they had raced at Loudon, we'd have a lot better idea.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, so we're all set in the rear view. Let's go ahead and move ahead to this week's Horizon Forecast. Start looking into the Charlotte Roval.
Hey, Michael, it was only 20% chance of rain. I think we got all 20.
All right, so looking ahead to the weekend there, as we're still trying to hold on to Seth here. Seth, if there's any, I've had to do a couple of shows. I remember, I think the 2023 Daytona 500, I'm doing the show on my phone from a hotel room desk somewhere. I think it was in upstate New York. Sometimes you just got to make do. Thankfully, the production value on this program has been upped at least to a little point since then. But yeah, and Seth, I mean, that's what happens when you move up into the mountains. It's a beautiful place to live, but sometimes, I'm looking forward to seeing the place. But sometimes up there in the Pennsylvania State Forests, the internet, definitely not the best up there. Regardless, we know that he's smart enough to keep hopping in and out, and we will catch him as we can, and we'll just keep going forward because that's what we do. You keep rolling down the back road. Sometimes that, the old school Chevy S10 will kind of bump on you, will kind of break down on you. But hey, you keep on rolling down the back roads. That's what we'll do. Let's get to the weekend schedule and the entry list for the week. In the Cup Series, it's your typical 36 drivers, as well as Josh Bilicki in the number 66, rolling on in the triple header this weekend. He's rolling on that back road in all three races. Has a better shot the further you go down. Of course, I don't believe the 66 car from Garage 66 is going to have very much of a chance to pull off the win there, but in any case, your 36 normal entries in Josh Bilicki. The Xfinity Series, this is going to be interesting to watch because there are 42 entries and only 38 spots available in that race. Qualifying going to be a little sketchy for some of these road course ringers, especially. Looking at the notable entries that we have, Connor Mosack back in the Junior Motorsports number 9, Charlotte Wholesale sponsoring that car. Last time he was in a JRM car right there, the Porter Pipe and Supply. Or that was second to last time he ran the Roval as well. With the front nose piece of that Chicago car, one of my nice little backdrop pieces. Grabbed that from JRM. So he's back in a JRM car. Daniel Hemrick in the Kaulig number 11. That should help him get some more seat time there. Truck Series is going to have a lot of road courses next year. If he's back in that McAnally truck, any sort of road course time will help him. Corey Day, I believe he's running the rest of the year, most of the rest of the year, in that HendrickCars.com number 17. Eric Almirola in the number 19. A little surprised JGR didn't have a road course ringer in for this race. We've seen Jack Perkins get some funding for a couple of races, but they didn't turn out that well. It'll be Almirola in the 19. Jordan Anderson Racing. Of course, normally this is my beloved Austin Green in the number 32 car for Jordan Anderson Racing. He's still in the race. He's in the number 87. He's in their fourth team, which that has me a little bit worried for my guy Austin Green in qualifying. He's got the skill, but it's just he's going to have the car underneath him if 4 drivers are going to miss the race, and he's got basically no owner's points to fall back on. The 32 has better owner's points, so Jordan Anderson is putting ARCA driver and longtime Jordan Anderson Racing crew member Andrew Patterson going to drive that car. Always cool to see the behind-the-wall guys get their chances. Brad Perez, an often brought-up example of the crew guys that will scratch and claw and fun to get any opportunity you can to race. And that's what we're seeing with Andrew Patterson here, 5+ years, I believe, at Jordan Anderson Racing. Josh Williams in the 45 for Alpha Prime this year. And other road course ringers, Alex Lebay, Kaz Gralla, Preston Pardus, Sage Karam, Thomas Annunziata among the entry list. If you're looking at some potential sneaky long odds, top 10s, ESPN Bet had the top 10s mark it up. Bet365 occasionally will as well. Of course, I'm on a couple of those, but those are some other guys that if they can qualify into the race, that they could be some pretty sneaky top 10s that you could see. In the Truck Series, 36 entries, so nobody's going home. Connor Zilisch in the number 7 for Spire. We saw him race the 45 for Nice at Watkins Glen. Didn't go as well as he wanted it to. Whether you think the 7 at Spire is a better truck, it seems subjective at this point. But he'll be in that number 7 for Spire this week. Chris Wright back in the number 16 for McAnally Hilgeman Racing. FNB Corporation sponsoring that. So good for Chris Wright getting back in a truck. But also, if you get an over-under bet on the cautions, I feel like you know which direction you can go on that. Josh Palicki, like I mentioned, running the triple header. I think it's in the 91 in Xfinity, but in the Nice number 41. So he could be a little sneaky top 5, top 10 run there. I don't have him on my card at the moment, but it's definitely someone to watch. Just going to take a peek here, see if I've got Seth. Nothing in the text messages yet, so he might be popping in here right now, maybe back on his phone. Weekend schedule as we see if we can get Seth back in here. It starts tomorrow, 11:05 a.m., truck practice and qualifying, and then a 3:53 green flag. So a little truck in action at work if you're anywhere, actually, East Coast, West Coast, for the truck race, the EcoSave 250 stage lengths 20, 20, and 27. I might have to add Seth to the stage here. So, all right, we've got Seth onto the stage. How we sounding?
Am I sounding okay?
We're getting audio from you, and you're on the screen. So I feel like for tonight, that's probably about the best we can do.
Are we lagging a little bit still? We're still hitting the lag?
A little laggy. We're going to open the curtain a little bit. I'm just going to ask you if you're on your Wi-Fi or if you're on the mobile data. I'm assuming you're set up on your phone now.
Yeah. Went to the mobile device, went to the data. Trying to go back to the Wi-Fi as we speak from the phone. So, guys, apologies again. We usually we get 38 races a year. I think we usually bat 95% on these. So apologies there, man.
Yeah, and hey, it's just like reminiscing the days of, I remember before the 2023 Daytona 500, I'm doing my show on a phone, sitting on a hotel room desk, looking like this into the camera, doing our picks for a Daytona 500 show. So thankfully, our production value has been up a little bit since then, like I was talking about. But occasionally, it's just anything goes, my man. So hopefully we keep you around the rest of the way. Like I said, Friday schedule, the EcoSave 250 tomorrow, 3:53 p.m. Eastern, stage lengths 20, 20, and 27 over on FS1. Saturday, we get, of course, the Xfinity qualifying at 11:30. Each Cup practice and qualifying on True TV, not Truck, True TV at 2 p.m. And then 5:10 as we start to dip into the evening. 5:10 p.m. green flag for the Xfinity race, the Blue Cross NC 250, stage lengths 20, 20, and 27. They have brought temporary lights into the infield at the Charlotte Roval. So as this race dips into a night race, there shouldn't be any of those concerns. As long as we don't have a monsoon race like we did, it will be nice to see the Xfinity cars rip around the Roval at night, Seth. Not sure if he's ready for it.
100%, man. I'm always. Can you hear me? Can you hear me still?
I just didn't mean to put you on the spot if you were still working your setup with the AirPods now for those listening on audio.
Yeah. Oh, wouldn't you know, I had to unplug the regular mic for the to get the phone charging. So we're batting here. Go ahead. You readdress your question if you would, Elliot.
Yeah, so I was just saying it would be cool to have the Xfinity Series racing at night there, temporary infield lights fully lighting the infield Roval.
Dude, I would always be open for that, man. I think more night races we can get in NASCAR, even in an Xfinity Series, is a good thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. The Cup side, 3:05 p.m. for the Bank of America ROVAL 400 on USA. Stage lengths 25, 25, and 59. It'd be neat if we were ripping around here at night. The Roval is neat, but with how good the Charlotte Oval has been the last couple of years, before we start to look into the Roval, crack that can open, I'd like to express my desire for this race as soon as it possibly can to go back to the Charlotte Oval.
Dude, I mean, yeah, I think we're heading there soon, right?
I hope so. I mean, the Roval is still on the schedule for next year with, I believe, all three series. And this was good when you look back to, I believe it was 2017 they announced this. you still only went to Watkins Glen and to Sonoma. And then it's like, oh, cool, we get another road course. But now Circuit of the Americas, hopefully an every year mainstay. We ran the Chicago Street Course and we're running the San Diego Street Course. Of course, we still go to Watkins Glen and Sonoma, thankfully. But we've raced the Road America before. There have been lots of road courses that we have on the schedule now. And the Charlotte Roval back then, or the Charlotte Oval, as Seth, you're in with audio only now, hopefully fixing that camera shot. So the Roval was neat at that time. We only those couple of road courses. Now that we've got more, and the Oval is racing really well now the last couple of years. I mean, think about it. I mean, William Byron led a lot of that race in the springtime at the Oval, but with especially that finish where it's Byron trying to hold on, Chastain charging through. Mm-hmm. That would be a heck of a lot more fun. Like a race exactly like last week, instead of a road course race that probably a guy who's not in the playoffs is most likely to win.
I am all for taking us back to the Oval. I like the Roval. It's, as you said, kind of served its purpose for what it was. And now we just have so many road courses on the schedule. We're doing different things. Like, I think we all get our fix from those other places. Like, you're never going to replace or duplicate what we get at Watkins Glen, what we get at Sonoma. Coda's been, come around, especially at the reformatted configuration as well.
All right, so taking a look ahead to that Charlotte Roval, since unfortunately we're racing there. No, it'll be a good race. I'm excited about the race. It's just that I like the Oval. This 2.28 mile road course / Oval hybrid is the only Roval type of setup that we run. A few years we ran the Daytona road course, but for now this is it. So in terms of primary comps, I don't think there are any. But the secondary, you just have to look at general road course prowess. That's exactly what our betting model did this week. A little bit of everything from all of the 2025 road courses, as well as past Roval stats.
Yep, pretty much wanted to combine all the average running positions that we've seen at this year's courses, also at 2024's road courses as well, Elliot. And then also factoring into there as well is everything we've seen at the Charlotte Roval in the next gen era. We didn't go pre-next gen there, so just taking 2022, 23, 24 stats there, and all the finishes from this year as well, and the total speed rank. It's kind of weighed a little bit heavier than 2024's were.
And it led, of course, to Shane van Gisbergen being on top of the model. Only a 97%, though. Check out the top 10 of the model and some extra picks based on it tomorrow morning on in-betweenmedia.com. Or if you're in the Discord and haven't looked in the last few hours, the betting model is live in there now. You can go ahead and break it all down. Just we're going to break down the trends for the Roval. This is the 8th Roval race in general, the 4th in the next gen, running the same tire as all the other road course races this year. So after a few weeks in a row of potential tire discourse, none of that this week. Same road course tire as always. Next gen pole winners at this place: SVG, who finished 7th in that race; Tyler Reddick, who finished 6th in 2023; and Joey Logano, who ended up with an 18th place finish in 2022. In terms of the race winners, Kyle Larson won last year, starting 6th. AJ Allmendinger won in 2023, starting 6th. And Christopher Bell, the 2022 winner, starting in 8th. That leads to one of the more interesting trends that we've seen. 5 of the 7 Roval races have been won from a P6 to a P10 starting position. Top 5 starting position has only won the Roval one time. The only exceptions we've seen from it, Chase Elliott in 2019 wins this race, starting 19th and putting it into that Tums heartburn turn, getting some damage on that car, but still coming back to win. Won it the next year, starting 2nd. So you've never seen your pole winner win here. You've only seen one in the top 5. It's of course 5 of 7 from 6th through 10th, and then once from 19th, almost outside the top 20. Definitely different than what we see from trends, but the only Roval we have out there, I'm expecting some unique trends from this place.
Yeah, it's usually what it provides, man. And I think it's one of those places that I factor in, as much as I think like there are good Rovalers, right? Like we know Dinger's a good Rovaler. I think if anything, a lot of this comes down to how much speed do you have coming in here, a little bit coming off those road courses that we've seen so far this season. Also at the same time, like kind of what's your current form too? Like it does feel like maybe it's just the time of year, but it's usually kind of the big dogs again eating here for the most part. And like I kind of would be surprised if we had a surprising winner. And I think the trends kind of lay that out a little bit.
Yeah, this has always been, again, a playoff race, round of 16 elimination race the first couple of years before becoming the round of 12 elimination. Average starting position, Joey Logano has the best here with a 5.857 average starting spot. Chase Elliott, 8.143 is second. Alex Bowman, third at 9.167. He missed the start here, being injured in 2022. AJ Allmendinger, only 5 of the 7 races here. His average starting position is at a 10.2. And our only other active pole winner here, still around from pre-next gen era, William Byron is 5th. The 2019 pole winner has an average starting position at 10.286. In terms of the race, your winners, of course, Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott have won this race twice. AJ Allmendinger, Christopher Bell, and Ryan Blaney in that memorable 2018 year, your other winners at the Roval. In terms of leading top 5s, Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch, 3 top 5s here. Allmendinger, Bowman, Bell, Logano, Larson, Blaney, and Byron with 2 apiece. Top 10s, your leaders, Joey Logano with 6 of them. Bowman, Elliott, and Blaney have 5. Allmendinger and Byron with 4. Chase Elliott, top average finish here, as you'd expect, 7.71. Reddick racing 5 times here to 7.8. Logano, 8.5. Bell right at 10th in 5 starts, and Blaney just outside there, 10.143. The last 2 years, the final pass for the lead came with exactly 33 laps to go. So keep an eye on the 33 laps to go mark. In this one, the only last lap pass, of course, that 2018 memorable race where it was Martin Truex Jr. and Jimmy Johnson battling for the win into the front stretch chicane. They both get into each other. Ryan Blaney comes through to earn what I believe was his second Cup Series win. The only overtime race, 2022. So not something that happens a whole lot here. And one more trend to roll it out involves Kyle Busch. Of course, he's been around full-time in the Cup Series since 2005. This will be his 64th career road course start. That is the most in Cup Series history. Kyle Busch will pass Terry Labonte for the most road course starts in Cup Series history. Of course, we've raced on a few more in the last couple of years, especially in the next-gen era, but Kyle Busch breaking a record there, taking Terry Labonte off the top of the record books. Seth, any commentary on the trends before we go into this week's Asterisk Mark Driver of the Week?
No, I think you hit it pretty well, man.
Great. Just wanted to give you the opportunity, since hopefully we have you back in the full setup for the rest of the show. Keep that phone on standby just in case. Sometimes
we got it.
Sometimes it's the hotel room mobile data that comes in the best. But give us, while we have you, the iFantasyRace.com Asterisk Mark Driver of the Week.
Yeah, shout out to our boy Ryan, always putting the good work in every single week, getting us ready for these races at iFantasyRace.com. Tyler Reddick, last year, Reddick had a pretty eventful race here in the race. Reddick started second. He won stage 2, going for points, but then early in stage 2, while he was back fighting through traffic, doing as Tyler Reddick usually does here, Austin Dillon spun out, which brought out Reddick to stop. He then also collided with Denny Hamlin, team owner of 23XI in that process. He then was supposedly having a broken toe link at that point in the 45. That put Reddick behind for much of the rest of the afternoon, but he did end up rebounding to 11th that day. Elliot, I know you and I think we're both on a potential top 10 ticket for him, also with Alex Bowman. And, you know, there were a couple things in that race, specifically that collision with Denny Hamlin for Reddick, who potentially could have won that race maybe before that. Yeah,
Reddick definitely the primary guy to look at here because he's in a similar situation this year. Of course, last year he was in a better spot with the points, was able to go out, earn stage points, get that stage win. This year he's going to need a little more than that probably to make it through. Chase Briscoe, I remember another playoff guy who had problems in this race last year. Ended up knocking him out as he was out of the race, I believe, with mechanical issues. Of course, Alex Bowman ran about 15th, advanced to the round of 8, and then was disqualified. That could count as an asterisk mark as well. But shout out to iFantasy Race for giving those to us each and every week. Arguably, the most valuable place for your fantasy racing stats is Ryan from iFantasy Race. And even Dirty Mo Media knows it now. A little screenshot of Dale Jr. holding the paper of that nice little average finishes heat chart that we use each and every week. It's gone over to Dirty Mo now. So I think that means Dirty Mo Doe should just be us now. You know, Tampa Tims, we love you, but let's get some more crossover there for the iFantasy Race guys, you know.
Hey, we knew Ryan first before he was famous. I'll tell you that right now. And no, shout out to everyone doing their homework, man. It's cool that, you know, Dale Jr. and people like that care enough to dive into the numbers here. And there's no better place to do it than iFantasyRace.com. So dude's a weapon. Dude's a certified weapon. I'm glad we have him a part of our team and partnership over here. So shout out to you, Ryan. And what do you say, Elliot? Should we jump into some bets here?
Yep, I would say cheers and long may the partnership continue, but it's one of those nights, my strawberry lemonade and High Rock vodka already going here. So we'll just have to roll with the water the rest of the way. But we love it in the parking garage props. In terms of how the books are looking this week, a couple of neat offerings out there. My biggest thank you, though, ESPN Bet, as I was going through, finalizing my bets for the day, I had already put in the doc, please give me some Xfinity top 10s, and then they obliged by the time I got there. So shout out to ESPN Bet offering my favorite market, especially on the road courses.
Yeah, I mean, that is where I'm consistently trying to bet the Xfinity Series. It was a real gift that we got them this season. So happy they've stuck around for most races, right? We saw them disappear here and there, but to have them back in the fold for what feels like, the foreseeable future is great. So very thankful for that. And overall, like, I was pretty pleased with the offerings, Elliot, to be honest with you. I found a lot of plus money value that I was surprised to see with just drinking so much juice lately, I think.
Yeah, and I guess the biggest compliment that I can give the books is each of the last couple of weeks. Darlington was my last big win, big payday. That's been a few weeks ago now, right? So as things have gone, and I've had good cards, I've had bets win. Still haven't gotten to the green quite to that extent as I did with Darlington and Portland. I always go into the week and I'm like, I'm probably going to bet a little less this week. And then I tally up my card, I go through the books, and I bet basically the same amount of bets, the unit share up and down, left and right, however you want to go to it. But I'm still finding some value in the markets. This week, though, there's one place to start. There's the only place to start is Shane van Gisbergen, Seth.
Yeah, I mean, it's just where you have to go here. He has a 97% IBT grade rated out, obviously number one in the model this week. And, what else do you want to see here? Look at your average running position from Watkins Glen. Number one, number two at Sonoma, number one at Chicago, number three in Mexico, number three at Coda. He's there. Road course total speed rankings, he's number one. Road course's average finishes since 2024, he's number one. There's really nothing to pick him apart. The only reason he doesn't have a 100% score here, Elliot, is just because last year he finished 7th here, right? Like, it was just kind of an average run for him. He wasn't anything special, but at that time, I just felt like Colleague was kind of down on their equipment as a whole. And I think it's that, and I think it's the average running position we saw from SVG last year of 7.6 that kind of puts him there. But for me, like, if you're going to give me a plus 110 for a very confident bet, I guess I just have to do it at this point, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Plus 110, minus 3,000, maybe not quite to that extent, but at betting SVG on the
plus
road.
Money field, plus, yeah. And the thing here is, like, getting a little EV because other books have him minus 120. Like, that's the thing. If everyone had minus 120, I probably wouldn't bet this. But the fact that we're getting plus 110, so you're getting 30 cents of value there, I will bet it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, this one's a squad ride. I'm on this as well. The other thing about SVG last year, like you said, 7th, average running position is 7th, went out there and won the pole. This was not a race that was initially on his schedule. They added him in the number 13 Colleague team, not that number 16. Was it the 16 that was, I believe it was the 16 that was rolling with Allmendinger sometimes and other drivers sometimes, Derek Kraus and the like. This wasn't originally on his schedule. Allmendinger, of course, was in the 16. He finally got to 16. He was thrown in the 13 last year. Anyway, let's let bygones be bygones. This 88 has won each of the last 4 road course races. And I got to pair him with his buddy Connor Zilisch. You see that Rolex 24 all the rest of the year. They've been winning nonstop. And I've parlayed their Cup and Xfinity Series outrights at plus 242 on Caesars. I've also parlayed Zilich's Xfinity and truck outrights together. Maybe I should just get on the Xfinity solo as well. We'll see. And at times, I mean, it's been less so as Zilisch has won all the time. And as SVG has won all the time, there have been times where we have been tempted to go against these two at road courses throughout the summer, and it really hasn't paid off, especially, of course, Cup and Xfinity. With SVG, you mentioned it with all the stats. We talk about how he wins all these races, by 20 seconds at Mexico, by 11 seconds at the Glen. SVG has led 52% of laps on the road courses this year, has run inside the top 5 for 84% of laps, and has run into the top 10 94% of the time.
Wow.
On the road courses this year. And
Great
in terms
stat.
of Zilisch in the Xfinity Series, let's go through his short career. Finishes on the road courses for Connor Zilisch. First, 5th, second, first, and is currently on maybe the all-time best Xfinity Series run that we've seen. Of course, Talladega in, late April. crashes, hurts his back, has to miss a race. Larson wins it at Texas. Zilisch comes back the next race, and since then, top 5 every single race, dating back to Charlotte at the end of May.
Mm-hmm.
He's led laps in every single one of those races. Even more impressive. He's led 10 or more laps in each of the last 15 races, and in 7 of the last 9 has led 60 or more laps. I'm not raising my voice a little bit there. I hope I'm not blowing out anybody's TV speakers, but I just can't say it enough. Not just about SVG, but about Zilisch. They are on absolute all-time runs, and you would be silly, no matter what the odds are, to not make some money on SVG and Zilisch.
One last time, boys. Let's run it back, right? We got into this thing, what now, Elliot, 7-8 months ago when, we had a generational bet on Zilisch. I didn't think it'd be a generational run we are about to witness in the Xfinity series. That's what it's been from Connor Zilisch. Buckle up. It's been fun. It's been great. And with SVG, man, what a great story. This guy was a hired gun, shocks the NASCAR and Cup Series and motorsport as a whole.
Man, it's looking like we might have lost Seth again, but you're right. Shane van Gisbergen, a guy who comes out of absolutely nowhere. This Project 91 thing, pretty cool. This Van Gisbergen, it took the entire NASCAR garage all that weekend. Joey Logano in the post-race interview even calls him, Van Hamburger or whatever, went out there and beat us all. Everyone knows Shane van Gisbergen's name now, as we have Seth back in the fold here for the moment. Everyone knows his name. Everyone knows his road course prowess. And everyone knows he's your best way to make money at the Roval. But if you dip down into the placement props, which we're doing next with the squad right here that we both have, Christopher Bell, another pretty good option at the Roval. Seth, if you still got me, I'll let you take the floor first on Christopher Bell, also because you have the lower odds here. And just as I say that, we have Seth in the spinning wheel again. So I'll go first with Chris Bell, second in the model for good reason. Marcus, you can feel super confident about your guy in the 20 this week. Won this race, of course, needing to win it in 2022. Also has a P2 here in the next gen. Road courses in 2025 for Christopher Bell. Got the win at COTA. You take out the Chicago street course, which I'm comfortable doing because it's a street course. People try to differentiate road course, street course. It helps my stat here. So I'm removing Chicago from this equation. And Christopher Bell's average finish on the road courses this year, 2.5. That's pretty good. That's in the top 5. Thankfully, I got it at the better number at plus 160. But even at your plus 135 on ESPN bet, Seth, still a pretty good number for Chris Bell, who is arguably the best of the rest this weekend.
I think he is, man. You got me? Got me 10-4? Okay,
Yes.
Perfect. Awesome. Yes, so I think when it comes to Chris Bell, man, not only is he really, really good on the Roval, right? You look at his next-gen average finish here at a place like this, and it's second. And then you also go to everything he's done so far this season. He's been consistent. He has runner-up after runner-up. He also has just been everything you've wanted from him, at whether it's at the Roval, whether it's at Watkins Glen, where he's top 4 in average running position as well, Elliot.
Yeah, Chris Bell definitely going to be a good place to look here. Might even challenge SVG for the win in a parallel universe where anybody can. But you remember back to Watkins Glen. I think that was our most recent road course race, the Glen. Maybe we've had one in between there. I think that was the most recent one. SVG was 11 seconds out in the middle of nowhere. Really good battle between Christopher Bell and Chris Buescher there. And I think it was Bell that came out on top there for second place to earn the best of the rest in that most recent race. A lot of top 10s here this week as well. And I got to start with the most recent winner, Chase Elliott, minus 150 on Bet365. It's a juicy-ish bet, but I like it. And I like it at the top 10. Top 5, I could easily be convinced, maybe even the top 3. I'm okay with the top 10. It lost me some money on Brandon Jones, only on the top 10, but I'm okay with it here. 7th in the model, so that lines up between 5th to 10th if we're going by the model. 2 wins, 3 top 5s, 5 top 10s here at the Roval. Pretty darn good, if you say so. If I say so myself. Even though both of those wins were pre-next gen, his finishes here the last 2 years, P9 and P5. Road courses this year, it's been closer to the Chase Elliott of old. 3 top 5s in 5 road course races this year. And the career road course average finish, he's been around a while now. He's not just a young kid anymore, not a rookie. His championship was a while back now. Career road course average finish, more impressive as we've only added more, is at 9.3. So averaging a top 10 on the road courses for a career, very impressive from the 9. As we talk about SVG and as we talk about Bell, especially this year, we can't forget Chase Elliott's road course prowess.
Yeah, dude, I think Chase Elliott's one of those guys who It might not look flashy all day. He might run towards the teens, but then he just gets this late run speed at all of these road courses that's almost unheard of realistically, like to the point where you're like, oh, could he actually catch SVG? No, no one can. But at the same time, he makes it dang competitive. I think the only thing from Chase Elliott's report when putting together the numbers today, Elliott, that threw me off betting this, because first of all, shout out to you for drinking some juice here. I appreciate that. This sounds like a Seth bet. And the only thing that threw me off is 26 at Watkins Glen. I don't know what happened there that day, and I think I was on him pretty heavily.
Yeah, unfortunately, neither of us were locked into that race like we normally would be out working at the Fantasy Football Expo. But something that it didn't, maybe we'll have to go back to the Asterisk mark report and whatnot to look at. But I'm not worried about that. Normally, I'm worried about the what have you done for me lately. But the road stats and the general road course stats are good with me here. As another guy with road course prowess, one of my extra bets this week is a top 5 on this particular gentleman. The top 10, though, even at a juicier number, of course, I like it all the more.
Yeah, AJ Allmendinger, minus 140 right now at Caesar. So this is another place I feel like we're getting a little bit of value and finding and sniffing it out here, Elliott, because I've seen my other books, minus 200. I've seen minus 175. And AJ Allmendinger, I think it's the highest he's been in the projections all season long. He comes in fourth, 78% score, which doesn't sound crazy, but it's still a good bit ahead of everyone else behind him too. He's number 1 in Roval Next Gen average finishes. He's number 1 in the total speed rankings here as well. And also, like Elliott, he has this crazy resume in the Xfinity series where he's won multiple times here at the Charlotte Roval as well. I think the big thing going against Dinger is that he didn't show up in Mexico. He didn't show up at Sonoma. He was just okay at Watkins Glen, right? Like he hasn't been super good at some of these tracks, but the ones that he's been really, really good at, like Coda, he was there. Like Chicago Street, he was there. I think we see Dinger continue to be there. Now, I wanted to hammer this for a lot of units because I just really am high on Dinger this week. But I think you have to just keep your expectations somewhat okay in check just because it is colleague equipment. Anything can happen. We've seen AJ Allmendinger go out there without a radio off the bat, blow up before. So that's the only thing. And that's just kind of what I want to keep in mind. And only one top 10 on a road course this year. So like it's been good runs. It's been good average running positions, but just hasn't always got him the finish he deserves. So that's why I'm just keeping it modest here, but I still think minus 140 is a very bettable number for him at his best track.
Yeah, but we also talk about guys, it's their particular tracks they run well on. The Roval definitely one of those.
And AJ's one of those guys, right? Like even on the ovals, he has the ovals where he's always just like good at every time. What is it? Is it Darlington that he's super good at, or Las Vegas? Homestead.
Top 10s.
Yeah.
Every year in the next gen. Just like at the Roval, he's generally pretty good here, whether it's at 16 car part-time or 2023. This was the win that almost like he had obviously a couple of wins, lots of Xfinity wins. He was undefeated here in a stretch that was longer than the Confederacy in terms of how often he would win at the Roval when he was entered in the race. But with Allmendinger, that 2023 win was really one to vindicate his career. He knew he was going to be out of full-time cup racing for 2024, which was a silly decision that thankfully they've rectified this year. Didn't work out in a playoff berth. Again, only I believe it was a top 5 or 6 place run at the Chicago Street Course. Another one of those places he runs well. But it was that come from behind, shocking out of the playoffs 2023 victory that really vindicated Allmendinger and pulling off something like that again this year, where he's been up and down. The lows have been pretty low, but the highs have been pretty high for Allmendinger. Top 10 runs at some ovals. Like we said, that top 5-ish, close to it run in Chicago that I don't have in front of me right now. Allmendinger, definitely someone to watch. The top 10 minus 140, a good number. My top 5 is plus 180 from Bet Rivers, a number that I'm comfortable with as well.
Yeah. I also saw him in a matchup. I can't remember who it was against, but I was really tempted to go ahead and lay that as well. So yeah, AJ Allmendinger, not a bad guy to have value on this week. Elliott, I got a couple more placements here I can throw out for us quickly, if that's okay.
Yep. I do have the other side of that matchup. Again, a bet outside of my card here. Ty Gibbs over AJ Allmendinger plus 130 on Bet365 is one of my additional bonus bets. So you can see my full card right now in the Discord.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I am going to go with Chase Briscoe on the top 10 here. And there's one thing you have to look past Chase Briscoe. He comes in 12th in the projections this week. And part of that, what's pushing him down so much here, Elliott, is his Roval next gen stats are garbage, right? Terrible last year here, had an issue right away, finished towards the end of the pack. I think it was last. I think it was 36 out of 36, 37 out of 37, whatever it may be. But he hasn't been good here at SHR. He did have one top 10 finish a while back. I think it was 2022. But you look at what Chase Briscoe has done here on road courses this season is enough for me to say, and you know me, Elliot, I'm a trends guy. I need comps to line up to bet you. I need the recent history at this track. I need recent speed overall to line up. But to me, his finishes, his average running position at these other road courses is so strong. I'm willing to look past it. Top 5 at Watkins Glen. He was second at Sonoma in average running position. Look at Chicago Street, top 5 again. You go then Dakota, top 5 again. So like he's just been there. You look at next gen totals or 2025 total speed rankings at road courses. He's number 2 behind SVG. This guy's been flying around there. He's been making moves. Chase Briscoe for me is someone I want to be heavily invested in fantasy this week. I want to be heavily invested in when it comes to betting as well, because don't forget as well, he also won here once upon a time back in the Xfinity series.
Yeah, good point. And Briscoe, one of those guys I do want to have on my card, and I think I got to add maybe this bet is the one to bet. But it's almost the inverse of the Allmendinger argument, where the Roval stats are bad enough that even the other road course stats.
It's exactly.
And he's close enough to the cut line. What is he, plus 23 or something like that, in the mid-20s there. He is plus 21. So that's at the stage where maybe he's going to race for points.
Yep.
And that will sacrifice your finish at the Roval. Something that I know he's not really gonna be conducive to winning this bet, at least.
Yeah, but at least he won't be taking ballsy gambles and going for the win, right? Like he's just trying to, potentially grab a top 10 finish and some stage points here and there. So no, I totally understand what you're saying. Yeah. And it is funny. I thought about the same thing earlier. I'm like, okay, well, I'm taking in Dinger's case, I'm taking Roval stats, and with him, I'm taking 2025 stats. So one of them should probably come through, right? Whatever my reasoning is, right or wrong.
Yeah, you would think so. You have both sides of the coin. The house always wins,
Yeah.
A couple more top 10s here before I rip through a couple matchups and we continue on down the board. It's Joey Logano here, plus 250 from Bet365. This is one of those, Rod's Tyler Ankrum analogy. If you get hit in the face X amount of times, you're probably going to get hit in the face again. You wouldn't think it, but Joey Logano, 6 for 7 in top 10 finishes at the Roval, and won a stage in the race where he didn't finish top 10. So again, what I was just talking about, that points racing that will knock you out of a potential top 10 finish if you go up there and win the stages run for stage points. It doesn't help you. Road courses this year, 2 top 11 finishes. I'm counting it because it's close enough. Sonoma and Chicago finished, I believe, 9th in one, 11th in the other. Logano for a top 10. Again, we're flipping back and forth. Roval stats, not Roval stats. Roval stats for Logano here at plus 250 for a top 10.
I'm okay with it. I'm okay. This is the time he needs to show up. He needs to clutch up. We didn't necessarily see it at a bunch of road courses this season, but he hasn't been bad either. And you look at what he's done the last 2 times out here, it's been solid. And he's been in this very similar situation where he has to score a crap ton of points to keep himself alive. So, yeah, Joey Logano plus 250. Again, I think it's another pretty generous number.
That's what I thought too. Seeing the stats, I figured we'd be a little closer to even money. But with Logano, this is always in the play. It's always been in the playoffs. The 22 team, whether they win the title or not, always does turn it up in the playoffs. Helps with that 6 for 7 top 10s here. One more top 10 on the card this week for you.
Yeah, it's Bubba Wallace. Give me some Bubba Wallace here, plus 330 at FanDuel. This is a guy who's been running really good as of late. So he's got the recent speed. And he's been getting better, I think, at road courses throughout his career as well. You go back to what we just saw at Watkins Glen. He was 8th there. You also go back to Mexico City, 12th. He's had some poor finishes here and there, but more times than not, it's him beating himself. And he can't beat himself here in a way, I think, as well. And also, kind of just looking back what he's done at the Roval the last 3 years, 9th last year, a 16th in there, and then a 7th the year before. So give me a guy in Bubba Wallace who I think needs to go out and have a really strong day. Does he have to go for the win? Potentially. Could that hurt this bet? Potentially. That's why it's just a half unit flyer that I'm kind of throwing out here on Bubba Wallace. But I think he has the speed, and I think he has the equipment to do it. He's run pretty well at the other road courses right there, kind of the line of a top 10, top 15 car. And so give me one that he's comfortable at here at the Roval.
I like the stats for this. I like the number. I like the bet. And I think that it will help him having to go for the win. Minus 23 or whatever he's at is not quite enough to just go for stage points and have the hope that other people have problems. They're going to have to go for the win. I've been talking about it for years. Bubba Wallace getting better on the road courses. I don't think he has a day that's good enough for him to advance, but very easily that could be a 7th place. And in a plus 330 for a guy who's had a really good few weeks, short of just a clunker at New Hampshire that puts you in these situations in the playoffs when you don't have the playoff points. I don't mind some Bubba Wallace this week for sure.
He's the longest odds top 10 I could find that I could reasonably build a story around it, how he could get there, right?
Yep. I don't have anything longer in the placement props myself, and you
Agreed.
know I'm guilty of the legacy top 10 or the random top 10 that we got. The last couple weeks, my guilty pleasure has been matchups. I got 3 of them to throw at you guys here, and we got to start with Hendrick Motorsports. William Byron over Kyle Larson.
Oh, that's a good number.
120 on Bet365.
That's good.
That's when we do our end of the season wrap up, I'm going to give my flowers to Bet365. Legal in Pennsylvania, starting toward the beginning of the season. They have had some of the best numbers that I've had. I've won more money on that book than any of the other books, probably close to any of the other books combined. It's not quite that bad, but there was a time where Bet365 was getting basically all of my card, and for good reason. I have this matchup, and another one that I don't have on an extended basis is Bell over Larson at minus 130, because we already talked about Bell. We don't need to rehash that. I believe that was on Caesars. Kyle Larson, 19th in the model this week. I don't know that I've seen him that low in any model for any track all year, and it is for good reason. That's not just 19th in the model. That is an F grade for the number 5 car. He has the worst average finish on road courses this year, even behind Cody Ware. Average finish,
wow.
31st. And I know there's maybe a couple asterisk marks in there, but it has not been a good year at all for Larson on the road courses. We talk about a slump on the ovals. He's, of course, still been able to sprinkle in good finishes, top 5s, getting close to victories here and there and everywhere. It's not it on the road courses, and I don't think that this one being a little closer to an oval is going to help the 5. For Byron, though, it's just as much a way to get on Byron as it is a way to fade Larson. Last 2 years, P3 and P2 at the Roval, 4 total top 6s at this track. On road courses this year, again, I'm leaving out Chicago because he had mechanical problems all weekend and finished 40th, so it helps my stat to leave out the street course. Everywhere else, or at least some of his other finishes.
He also blew up at the street course, too.
Yeah, mechanical issues there. Other road course finishes this year for Byron include P2, P9, P8, and P4 for William Byron. So a guy who's generally running up toward the front in and around that top 10, a place where I do not think Kyle Larson is going to be all weekend.
Yeah, I love this, man. I actually was looking for a matchup to fade Larson specifically and couldn't find one that gave me anything I really liked. So congrats on you to you. I think this is great.
The Bell at minus 130 doesn't intrigue you, even with the top 5 stats we both have?
I probably would. I probably would consider that, honestly. Yeah. I don't know where you saw that. I must have missed that one.
I think it was Caesars. I have my card open on my second screen here. It was Caesars, yes. Minus 130 as of 12 o'clock this afternoon. I get minus 130 might be a little juicy. I like the plus 120 a lot better for sure with Byron.
Well, that's the thing. I don't know how Byron's not favored here, right? So I would jump on both of these, actually. I think these – I don't want to get overly invested free practice and qualifying against Kyle Larson, a guy who won last year, but you throw out that. I mean, he's just been so bad. Like this is another tough one, Elliot, because it really is Roval stats, recent Roval history versus what have you done for me lately on road courses? Yeah,
and for Larson, it has been nothing. Another matchup I got here, even money Kyle Busch over Alex Bowman at Bet365. They're 9th and 10th in the model, so this is a pretty good even money play here, at least in terms of how they're going to run, and it's both going to be fairly good. Kyle Busch in the last 4 races here, that does include one previous gen race, but again, worth counting. Average finish in the last 4 here is 5.8, which is the best in the Cup Series. Kyle Busch has been up and down on road courses this year, but the Roval, he's been pretty solid. 5th best total speed ranking on road courses this year. Again, subtracting the worst. I know it's cherry picking stats, whatever. Mexico City in the rain, loses control of that car, knocks out him, Larson, Allmendinger, a couple others. Outside of that, 10.5 average finish on the road courses this year for Kyle Busch. In terms of Bowman, last year, of course, he was racing for points, went out 1 stage 2. Even with a car that was illegal, though, still ran about 19th for a guy who I don't think had previously ever been outside the top 10 at the Roval. Sound familiar? Bowman taking it 3 wide, smashing the wall, and not cashing my top 10 bet, nor the Larson parlay that I had. Anyway, they were pretty junk here last year before that disqualification. Anyway, Started the year pretty good on road courses, 9th, 4th, 8th, but Sonoma and Watkins Glen, pretty crappy races for the 48. P19 and P20, I'm fully expecting more of that out of Bowman and more of that anywhere from 5.8 to 10.5 range for Kyle Busch. New crew chief, maybe a little bump that you get there. Over in English soccer, they talk about you get a new manager bump. Even if your team is running, if your team is playing kind of crummy, you fire your manager, you bring in somebody new. Doesn't matter how the rest of the year goes. You get that new manager bump at first, win a couple of games you're not supposed to win, maybe win a couple of matchups you're not supposed to win. That's what I'm rolling with the 8 car here.
Little dead cat bounce. Love it.
Yeah, there we go. Dead cat bounce. One more matchup. Michael McDowell over Ross Chastain at -120 on Caesars. Again, pretty close to the model. 13th for McDowell, 11th for Chastain. Their average finish on road court on the Roval, not very good for either. For McDowell, 24.7. For Ross, 25th. I'm taking the 71 here, though, regardless. McDowell's average finish on the road courses this year, minus his Chicago issues, 9.8. And he was probably going to finish better than 9.8 at Chicago if he didn't have those issues that knocked him behind the wall. Road course total speed ranking this year in the top 5 as well. I believe he's tied with Kyle Busch because I have 5th here for both of them. So I hope that's just they're tied for 5th and not I misread the chart or read a different chart. We were just talking about, though, the Roval not super kind to either of these guys. Chastain, 22nd or worse in 5 of 6 starts here. It's not going to get him into the next round of the playoffs. It's probably not going to get him past the 71 car. He had a P10 in 2023, Chastain did, his only bright spot here. But I think at -13, he's likely going out there for stage points. He's going to go for the stage wins. He's going to go for that early race Hail Mary, which will set back your finishes. All McDowell needs to worry about is going out there and trying to get that 71 in victory lane. Even more of a reason to take the 71 in this matchup.
Yeah, I think that's the argument there because they're pretty close in really like all the metrics. Neither one of them has been an ace at the Roval, I think, throughout their career.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, really towards the bottom of both bottom 10 in next gen average finish here at the Roval. So yeah, I mean, these are two guys for whatever reason don't really show up here, and give me the guy who is less likely to kind of make a ballsy Hail Mary strategy and just kind of get maybe what do you expect of McDowell to finish? Like, I mean, we haven't projected 13th, so I would say somewhere between like 10th and 15th pretty much.
Yeah, I think a top 10 could be frisky. I know Sonoma, he drove his way back up to like 5th or something on newer tires. I think I had a top 3 on him, though, didn't work out. It's just one of those cases of could he run into mechanical gremlins? It's the same argument with Allmendinger. Maybe he can, but I'm feeling maybe a little like, let's give it over under like 7.1 for the 71. I might take the lower finishing position.
I don't think I would, but I like the call. I like the call nonetheless here about against Ross here. And Elliot, I'll go ahead and round us out of the Cup Series if that works for you. I have a long shot straight forecast. First, Shane van Gisbergen. Second, Christopher Bell. Plus 900 at Caesars. I went 0.6 of a unit down on this one, man. And this is just one of those plays that I was surprised to see a 9-1, to be honest with you, because we've already seen this twice on the road courses so far this season. We've been to 5 road courses so far this season, Elliot. And right now, like coming in here and having the opportunity to back 2 of the highest drivers in our next gen or in our rankings here in our projections, and they're first by a wide margin, right? SVG 97%, Christopher Bell 90%, next closest Willie B 81%. So I just think there's like a good chance that SVG runs away with this thing, and Christopher Bell's the guy trying to track him down like he usually is at road courses if he can keep it clean.
This is a good bet and a good number. I didn't catch this one on Caesars. Rest assured, I'll be going to bet this one. I looked a little bit in some of those straight forecast, dual forecast numbers on my beloved Bet365 as I was talking about. Couldn't find a number quite this good, but 9-1 on this bet. Pretty darn good here. Hopefully not a stormy forecast for either one of them this weekend. Two of the 4 guys that might have a shot to win, and of course SVG pretty far forward in those projections.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you say, Elliot? Should we go ahead and jump to Xfinity trucks and get out of here?
Yeah, we got the minor series to go, and we got to start with one of your fun little parlays, Seth. Occasionally throwing in those football bets will work. This week, you're supporting the Shipmen and the number 88, so figured the old Brad Keselowski throwback would be perfect to throw on the graphic.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that. First leg, Connor Zilisch, -150 here. It's pretty simple, right? We're going for the outright. This is a guy, Elliot, we've kind of laid out the stats already and the argument around why you should be betting Connor Zilisch here. And for me, I wanted to get something where I could get close to plus money. So for the support, the Shipmen parlay plus 105 over ESPN bet, I'm going 3 units down on it. We are pairing the Zilisch outright there with the Navy money line against Air Force. And I know a lot of times we think about these service academy teams in college football and we think, okay, like they're pretty back and forth, right? So that is Army Navy. Navy is a different unit when it comes to playing Air Force, right? Air Force is not a good team. This is the Commanders in Chief game as well. And like both these teams, very high powered rushing offenses. Navy, though, top 30 in total defense. Air Force 126. So this is a big mismatch on the defense. Navy undefeated right now, 4-0. Air Force 1-3. Navy's beat some good teams. They beat Rice. They beat Tulsa. They beat UAB. Some G5 level teams at least. Air Force, they're 1-3. They got double-digit losses to Boise State, Hawaii of all people, Utah State. So this game was 34-7 last year. I would be very shocked if Navy didn't win by 2 scores. So I'd be extremely shocked if they didn't get home here on the money line. So just give me a little bit better of a boost here, if you would, Elliott, to get Zilisch to the window with an outright win at the ROVAL in the Xfinity Series.
Yeah, like I said, I was looking for ways to maybe get Zilisch's straight Xfinity outright on there. In terms of college football bets, I certainly hope this one goes better for you than Alabama, Florida State in week 1. Not going to let you live with that one on the rest of the year.
Well, you want another horrifying story real quick as well. So last week, the parlay of the week for the college football betting show, we were looking good. We hit 2 or 3 lines. Last one, I had IU at 6.5 line. I took an alt even. I teased that down a little bit, Elliott. It was an 8.5 line. I teased it down to 6.5. And then with 3 seconds left, IU is on their own 40-yard line. Fernando Mendoza, the Heisman favorite at this point, runs 40 yards back and takes a safety. I blow the parlay because of that. Swung the game the other way against the spread. Like he could have just went down. It was the clock hit 0-0-0, and he was still on the 25-yard line. So just insane.
Bad beat there, it sounds like, for sure.
Our guy Sig Signetti did it to us. Come on.
Bad beat there. So we're on a road course in the Xfinity Series. I'm going to give everyone one guess on what I'm on. Pretty simple. We are going back to the well in the Austin Green top 10, all the way down to plus 125, and I'm still smashing it. It's once again my largest unit share of the weekend, even though it's not quite as high as it was at Portland when I threw an irresponsible amount of money on it and had to sweat that through to watch him go through the chaos and finish 8th in that 32 car. Like I talked about in the scheduling this week, he's not in that 32. He's Andrew Patterson, I believe his name was, in the 32 for Jordan Anderson. So Austin Green thrown into the number 87 car, the Jordan Anderson Racing 4th car. I'm assuming things are not going to be as smooth because of that. Again, there's 4 DNQs this week, and Austin Green in that 87 team going to be toward the bottom of that list. So they're going to need to nail the qualifying lap. But I'm assuming the guy with this road course record is probably going to do that. As we look at the last 5 road course races in the Xfinity Series, P7, P9, P11, P7, and P8 for Austin Green. They're also entering him in more oval races. Bristol and Kansas did not go so well for Austin Green. So we're not worried about the ovals. We're worried about the road courses, though. It's time for a confidence boost. As long as everything goes well in that qualifying lap, which means this is a risky bet for me to throw on pre-P and Q for a guy that may not even qualify for the race if Mechanical Gremlins hit the number 4 team for a team that is C- tier in the Xfinity.
I think it'd be voided then, so I think you'd be good.
Okay, well, great, perfect. It's not something I bet often, clearly, but as long as he's in the race, I'm betting on Austin Green to once again round out his year on the road courses with another top 10.
Hey man, if you're gonna go in, go down swinging, right? You've been with this guy for over a year right now. Every time we get to a road course in the Xfinity Series, you said last year, if we ever got top 10s, I would bet Austin Green every freaking time. And you bet him
every road course all year. I've had this number. Coda didn't go well. They had mechanical issues, and it's hit every other road course race this year. Or I'm sorry, 11th at Sonoma. So agonizingly close there, and then 4 out of 5 the rest of the way. I like my odds here.
Absolutely. I also have one more Xfinity bet for everyone as well. Yep. If you can get me loud and clear. Sam Mayer, I'm taking him minus 130 over Justin Allgaier. Sam Mayer 4-2 against Justin Allgaier this season at road courses. 2-0 at the ROVAL the last 2 years, where Sam Mayer has won those races as well. And first in green flag speed last year, first in speed by segment. Wasn't the best in average running position. There were drivers for Sam Mayer, but compared to Gators 9.9. I just really expect Sam Mayer, if he can keep it clean, to be a top 5 car again Saturday. He went out for just an all. I think he's maybe get top 10.
A little back and forth there on you, Seth, but the general point comes through that Sam Mayer is one of the better road course races this year. It's almost the same sort of thing we were talking about, your Bells and your Briscoes and even your Allmendingers on the Cup side. They're really good on the road courses. Just SVG has been opening up the can of whoop them. It's the same thing with Mayer. Really good road course driver the last couple of years. Has pulled off a couple of road course wins at the Xfinity level, but you have Connor Zilisch to reckon with. I do have a small sprinkle on, I believe, a 7-1, 8-1 outright for Mayer this week, but I do like a matchup against Allgaier, as I would take Mayer over just about any other driver in the field, short of Zilisch and maybe a handful of other guys. I'd probably even do a Mayer over Austin Green, especially in that fourth car. So I'm going to kind of bridge the gap here between the Xfinity and the Truck Series as we're winding down the show, because I'm on the same driver in both series, and it's Connor Mosack. The top 10 at the Xfinity level at -110 via ESPN Bet, mostly because he's a decent road course racer in a junior motorsports car. This is his first Xfinity race in a good car this year. With all due respect to the number 14, the JRM number 9 has a little bit better resume. JRM and road courses this year, like bread and butter, like this High Rock vodka and pink lemonade I was rolling with earlier. Zilisch, SVG, and Suarez have swept this season on road courses for JRM this season. No other team has won one. This 9 car, of course, winning with SVG and with Suarez. I don't think that Mosack's going to battle for the win, neither in the Xfinity nor the Truck Series, but I like the placement props. So it's the JRM car plus what we've seen in the Truck Series, which leads me to his 7-1 top 5 on ESPN Bet, running really, really well at Lime Rock, top 5 all day. There's no loop data there. It was an independent truck event to go off of. But top 5 all day before a late restart. That was top 5 bad beat of the year for me, where I have a Lane Riggs over somebody in the Mosack top 5. They're both running there until 2 laps to go, and they both get thrown out the window in a late restart. But that's what happens. Watkins Glen, a couple weeks later, average running position of P8 for Mosack, which is pretty close to the top 5. Again, a lot of late chaos there. That race went into, 8,000 overtimes or something like that. I'd like to think that maybe the third time is the charm here on the truck side. He doesn't run into these late race issues. That a very talented road course guy like Mosack is going to be able to finally pull off some finishes in some decent equipment on both sides that he's able to run with at the Roval.
Love it. Yeah, I think there's a lot of good top 5 numbers out there in the Truck Series this week, Elliot, and I got a couple as well that I'll bring us home with here. Parker Kligerman, top 5. I mean, guy has 2 P6 finishes in the Xfinity Series. Some would argue he potentially should have won one of those races as well. I think more than a few people. And then at the same time, this is a guy who's been with this program. He should have won a race earlier this year with this program as well. And then also he's won a Truck Series race. I think it was Mid-Ohio a few years back with this number 75 car as well. So I think Parker Kligerman sneaky here at 6-1. I think that's way too long. I also think that our buddy over there, Gio Ruggiero, is also far too long at 7-1. This is a guy, Elliott, who has 2 top 5 finishes at the 2 road courses we've been to in the Truck Series so far this season. So I like him here for a top 5. I like Parker Kligerman, just about a half unit each. And then I'm also going to, I think, hammer down on a Gio over Enfinger matchup as well.
That is a good pull on Ruggiero. I didn't realize he'd been top 5 on the road courses, so that's on me for putting on a little bit of Mosack, Austin Green blind spot and not doing enough research on the truck side. That's going to be one I'm going to have to add. And Kligerman too, again, really good in this 75 truck. Now gets to pick and choose to run the races that he wants to run. I've got the slightest little sprinkle on a little. Is it 75-1 outright over on FanDuel? Just in case, 75-1 on the 75.
Redemption for Park. Wouldn't that be sweet to come back to the Roval at the end of this season, getting screwed twice in the last year? That'd be awesome.
It would be great for him, and it would be great for my card. But there's 2 guys that are probably going to win this race, and it's Corey Heim and Connor Zilisch. And a lot of weeks I talk about taking a matchup or a placement prop or something like that as Corey Heim insurance because, Majeski at a Richmond or this guy at this place – probably going to run pretty well. I think it was Lane Riggs somewhere I did it where Riggs ended up winning. But regardless, you need that Heim insurance because Corey Heim arguably could have won what has there been? Let's say there's been 20 truck races. Corey Heim could have won 18 of them going away. This week, though, I'm taking Heim at plus money as Connor Zilisch insurance in that 7 car. Corey Heim, of course, has led every lap at Lime Rock to win that race. I think there was one Lane Riggs technically got to the finish line first. Corey Heim led every lap. I don't care. Won Watkins Glen, most recent road course race, led a bunch of laps there. And every single road course truck race dating back to Coda in 2023, that was the most recent one that he didn't win. Of course, they only have gone once or twice. Next year, they're going to a lot of road courses. It'll be fun to watch, whether Heim's here or not. Hopefully he's not. Get this kid a better ride. But he is dominant at the road courses and the truck side. Connor Zilisch, again, I talked about, is the Nice 45 on the same level, higher, lower as the Spire number 7? Zilisch ran the Nice 45 at the Glen, didn't lead a single lap and finished 8th. Ran into some issues, didn't qualify that well, got spun at some point. Didn't lead a lap, don't care, didn't win the race. Corey Heim led 44 of the 81 laps in that race to take the checkered flag. It feels nice. Corey Heim at like a good plus money number, even though plus 110. Plus 110 over the favorite when you're the favorite every other week. I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, oh man, this is a tough one. Like, I totally understand where you're coming from, and I think you probably do win this one. And I know we had some, conversation in the Discord earlier today, like, are we parlaying all three, both Ziliches with the SVG, and you were kind of gun shy on that. I'm also kind of gun shy on that because I think Corey Heim probably should be the favorite here. I understand why Zilisch is, but until I see it a little bit more, the truck's a bit different. The truck's a little different, and I think he'll have speed, but can he keep it, on all fours for the entire race? I'm not sure. So, I do like Corey Heim here. I think that's a great way to bring us home.
I got one more little quick one, though. We don't do a lot of F1 bets anymore. It's just been a market. We've been so full with the NASCAR bets. We don't necessarily have the time for a lot of F1 stuff. Real quick one, though. Going Max Verstappen at the outright, plus 250 on Bet365. They are in Singapore this week. The only track on the F1 schedule that Max Verstappen has not won a race is Singapore. I think he gets it done.
Wow. Sometimes you wonder if F1 is scripted, and if he wins this, it definitely feels like that. But plus 250, I might come F around and find out on that one too. Honestly, it happened earlier this year with Lando, right?
Yeah, it's been the year of the McLaren, but Max winning a couple races, getting himself kind of back in that mix. Do I think he's going to win the Drivers' Championship a 5th year running? No. Do I think he can pull off the win here? Absolutely. All right, so it's been a great show tonight. Thanks to everyone for rocking and rolling through some technical difficulties. You got to love the beauty of live television here. Thankfully, Seth, your setup was good for the last little bit. Just like our setup is always good over at In Between Media.
Yeah, man, so much fun happening between the NFL fantasy football side, the NASCAR and the NASCAR gambling. PGA still rolling on. We got a lot of entertainment coming out as well right now, whether that's, the betting side of the entertainment markets. Also, we just did a rewatch pod earlier this week on the YouTube channel too. Steve Trash and Jake did a great job there. So a lot of fun stuff just happening here, man. New events will be rolling out on the calendar. Hopefully by Black Friday, we'll have some specials that we'll throw out there. So just so much good stuff happening in -betweenmedia.com. Really dope written content coming out right now. We got a Survivor betting article I'm about to go work on right now and get that published. So just cool stuff and keeping it in between, man. That's what we rock and roll over here with.
Keep your eyes out for more giveaways too, Discord and on the YouTube. We're going to be rolling with it. Thanks for rolling on down the back road with us tonight. Best of luck on your bets at the Roval. See you again next time.